Okay, hello everybody. Today we are going to be reviewing the movie 65 because I really wanted to see this just based on the directors, Scott Beck and Brian Woods, and also the writer, clearly. Um, oh my God, who else? Or was Sam Raimi a producer? He might have been a producer. I can't remember now. Oh my God, why can't I remember? Let's just see all cast and crew, producers, 10. Yes, he was. Sam Raimi, who has also produced and directed other films, quite a few other films actually, including the original Evil Dead, Army of Darkness, the new Evil Dead, which I'm super looking forward to. He's even did The Game. He did Night Books. He was a producer on that. So he's done quite a few movies that I like. Actually, I still have to watch Crawl because I haven't seen that yet. The Ash versus Evil Dead show, Don't Breathe, the new Poltergeist movie. Like, yeah, he's just done, and he was director of Spider-Man, so he's done quite a few, like the very first Spider-Man movie with Tobey Maguire. Oh my God, I couldn't think of his name for a second. So yeah, I kind of wanted to see this movie just to see exactly if it felt like a Sam Raimi movie because I know that his name was really kind of big on this, and yeah, it did. It did really feel like that. I know that he was only a producer, but I feel like the entire movie I was on the literal edge of my seat just waiting for something to happen. So this movie is about a man and his family and his daughter. I'm not sure. She has some sort of disease anyway, or some sort of sickness, and he has going on a long 2-year voyage to a different planet, so from planet to planet. And when he is traveling, he ends up crashing into an asteroid field, and the ship goes down on an unknown planet. He doesn't know where he is. Most of the passengers, unfortunately, well, he believes all the passengers are dead, but he ends up finding a young girl by the name of Koa, who doesn't speak any English, so they kind of have to uh, find a way to communicate with one another. And she actually picks up on they actually kind of pick up on the languages pretty quickly with one another. So, and they find a way to communicate at least somewhat. And I feel like he kind of becomes like almost like a father figure to her throughout the film, which was kind of really cool to see, like just the bond between the two of them. Because obviously he had a daughter, so he kind of has that father figure, like yeah, he kind of has, I guess, the dad instincts about him, so he kind of knows how to deal with children, obviously. And I know that he has to kind of lie to her throughout the movie and say that her parents are still alive because he wants to be able to get to the escape pod and get her off of the planet, right? Because he doesn't know where they are. So it was a cool concept for sure. So the movie is about crash landing on Earth 65 million years ago. So there was people on a different planet that were traveling to wherever he was supposed to be going to find this cure for his daughter. Unfortunately, along the travel, his daughter ends up passing away, which is yeah rather unfortunate because you're out in space just traveling from planet to planet with a whole bunch of passengers, and you aren't even able to be home to kind of be there with your daughter for her last moments. So when Koa is upset with him, think that kind of hit him hard because that's how his daughter was when she was close to, passing away, obviously. So it kind of hits him a little harder when people are upset with him, especially when he's, basically by himself with this kid, right? So yeah, so they land on Earth 65 million years ago, but you don't find that out until a little bit into the film. Now, obviously, if you've seen the trailer, you kind of have that idea of where they're going to be anyway. But we know what 65 million years ago was, and that was the dinosaurs. So, of course, he gets out of the ship, and there's some sort of like weird creature going through the water, and I was like, oh my God, is this going to just start off with some serious horror elements? Now, I wouldn't say it was totally horror elements like some of his movies are. But yeah, it did keep you on the edge of your seat because there were a few jump scares, and it was like, oh, when's the next one coming? Oh my God. Like it was just one of those movies that felt really impactful. And I feel like it's one of those ones that's kind of under the radar with everything else that's out right now, which I don't know. It seems like, again, I'll say this with some of these films, it kind of sucks that they're coming out during a time where there are other films competing. Now, I know Adam Driver has obviously made a name for himself, so I think this film might actually get some more pull just because he's in the movie, especially with playing Kylo Ren and co-starring with Lady Gaga in. Oh my God, I can't think of the name of the movie. I have to watch it yet, but was it Gucci? I think that he did, and then he was in The Last Duel, which I thoroughly enjoyed that movie. I actually have a review of it up if you want to go see that. If you haven't seen the movie yet, I would say go watch it first, of course. Um, but yeah, now I'm kind of getting off topic, aren't I? So yeah, basically it's him and the kid versus all these dinosaurs. Now there were some creatures that I feel like were almost kind of like a hybrid type creature. And I feel like that was probably for the movie. But I mean, hey, we don't really know what kind of. I mean, we're still discovering different species of dinosaurs to this day, just digging up bones. So I think paleontology is kind of an important thing because we're always discovering something new, and that's pretty cool. So I feel like we don't even know what the possibilities were of what the dinosaurs were or what they could have been potentially. Um, Now I know we have like our regular ones, like we saw the Velociraptors and the T Rex, and there were some other ones, like the ones that almost looked like a Komodo dragon mix, like lizard Komodo dragon type mix with almost like a Velociraptor in a way, I suppose. And then we had like the pterodactyls, and there was some other flying there were some other bird type creatures that I can't really think of the names of, but I know, like I recognize them, but yeah, they might have just been pterodactyls too. I'm not really sure, but they seem smaller than pterodactyls, so I'm trying to think of what other flightless what other creatures could fly back in that time, because there was even different times of dinosaurs, right? Like oh my God, I can't even remember all of them now. But like I think Mesozoic was one or something, and yeah, I'm trying to think of all the timelines for dinosaurs. So anyway, but this was basically right before the giant asteroid hits Earth and takes all the dinosaurs, wipes all the dinosaurs out. So yeah, they're kind of racing against time, and you only really see the T Rex a couple of times. Um, Once when it pushes them into the cave, and they have to both find a way out, and there's something down there with him. And then there was some sort of now it could have been like an adapt I guess like a reimagining of the Giganotosaurus possibly from Jurassic World, because it was just like a huge dinosaur that they ended up fighting at the end. And my God, Koa is a super brave girl because she takes this like stick that she had saved from earlier on in the movie and just stabs the thing in the eye. And uh, Adam Driver's character, um, Mills, was actually smart enough to remember that the water coming out of the hot springs was acidic. So that's how they actually end up killing the dinosaur. Now, the first time, the water comes out and it just hits the dinosaur and has no effect. But the second time, after Koa is able to stab it and kind of wound it a little bit, the water comes out acidic and kills the dinosaur. So they are able to make it off of Earth, uh, like within probably, I would say, 30 to 40 seconds before the asteroid actually hits. So it was kind of cool. Um, yeah, like a very cool concept for a movie. And maybe we'll get another one where they because it doesn't actually show them make it back to their home planet. You just kind of have to assume that they do. So who knows? They might end up crash landing on another planet and having to find a way off of that, or end up just being stuck there. I feel like there's kind of like endless possibilities for sequels to this movie. Um, even maybe, even maybe, even maybe having him and Koa get back to the home planet and maybe adopting her into the family and then having them kind of travel together in some future movies, maybe even back to Earth as kind of time goes on, right? I think that would be cool to maybe do like them going back to Earth and discovering like the caveman and so on and so forth, and then kind of moving through time and seeing how other planets kind of evolve. I feel like there's potential for other movies here. Um, but yeah, definitely had some action-packed moments. Uh, definitely some jump scares, not where you were expecting them, so they actually did make me jump a couple times, which is good. I feel like when you kind of know what's coming, it takes away from the element of the movie. And yeah, this one, like I said again, had me on the edge of my seat for the entire time. Now, in the very beginning, obviously, we know that Mills has been doing these missions for quite some time because his wife, who was played by Nika King, Alia, and his daughter, played by Chloe Coleman, who was Naveen. He'd been doing these missions for quite some time, and I guess he must have been trying to find the medicine for his daughter other places. But now that he was going on this longer voyage, he was a little bit more worried about her, obviously, leaving her for so long, and rightfully so, because unfortunately, again, she did end up passing away on the voyage, and he was definitely in some close near-death experiences himself, especially when he fights off the two T-Rexes, and that was probably the most iconic scene in the movie, where he fights them both off to save Koa, and the ship, or the escape pod ends up falling out of the ship because it gets hit by chunks of the asteroid, and then the one dinosaur ends up flipping it back over, so it does like its self-repair thing, and yeah, again, they are able to make it off the planet. So yeah, there was a lot of cool scenes in this movie. Yeah, and again, I feel like there's possibility for some sequels. I'm not really sure. So Sam Raimi, if you're down to ever talk to little old me just doing YouTube videos, that would be awesome. I'd actually love to have a chat with him. I'd actually love to make my own film one day. So hey, if this gets enough traction with people like that, that would be huge, man, huge. Um, and like kind of like a dream come true to work with a producer and a director like that for sure. Because I am a huge horror movie buff, so this was definitely more up my alley, I would say. And I did give it a 9 out of 10. Now I know I'm not like a I don't consider myself a huge film critic. I'm more of a reviewer. So when I'm reviewing the movie, I'm basing it more off of what the movie, yeah, I guess the experience of the movie itself. I mean, not every movie is great to me, that's for sure. So I guess I am kind of critiquing them in a way when I'm doing a review, I suppose. But I feel like some of these self-claimed like film critics are super harsh sometimes on films, um, like films that should have done a better rating. Now I know there's obviously like advanced screenings and so on and so forth, so maybe there's maybe there's some touch-ups and stuff that goes into these movies with things like that. I don't know, so maybe the original product wasn't as good as what came in the theaters. I don't really know how it all works behind the scenes. I couldn't tell you. So I feel like a 5.7 on IMDb for this movie when I was rating it a 9 out of 10. Now I know some people might feel like my ratings for a lot of movies are high. I try to be fair based on how I feel about the movie myself. Like it's just my own opinion. So, I mean, everybody's opinion is different and they're entitled to it. I just feel like they could be a little bit less harsh on some movies. And yeah, I mean, I guess when you're a film critic, you're really critiquing every little thing about the movie. And sometimes I feel like, yeah, you should just be able to just sit back and maybe experience it for what it is rather than, oh my God, there was this little mistake here and that there sort of thing. Um, but yeah, I felt like this movie was really good, so I gave it a 9 out of 10. And I guess I'm kind of rambling again. So I will see you guys in the next review. Bye bye for now.